We are back again, Jaguars Uncovered, brought to you by the Undroppables Network. I am your host, Schultzy. Next to me over there, my co-host, Josh. Tonight, once again, all I have to say is, because Jaguars.
Go Jags, baby.
I wrote that little intro last week, when I said all I have to say is because Jaguars, and now it was like, you know what? I'm not changing that.
Yeah, you can't. This was the most Jaguars game ever, so you got to keep because Jaguars.
How's it going tonight, my friend?
Another day of misery for Jags fan, but other than that, pretty good, man. Yourself?
Yeah, not too bad. I shout out to Kendra Middleton out there. I laughed hard at her tweet yesterday. I just said, "Good morning, fellow losers and losers only."
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's us.
That's it.
Well, 1 week after the Jags blew us away with their ability to blow a game, they returned home to Trevor Banks Stadium once again and blew us away, But this time it was with their ineptitude to even show up prepared for a damn football game. This team's an absolute joke. Help's not on the way. Look, I know it's week 2. We're going into week 3, but it's legitimately time to start talking about the coaching staff in the front office, and we need to talk about Doug, and I want to hear your take.
Yeah, so just to encapsulate it all, like it was a super funny tweet that went out when Trevor Bank was announced, and somebody asked Doug, like, how do you feel about Trevor Bank? He's like, well, I prefer Everbank or whatever like that. And somebody was like, I've never met a head coach who hates their franchise quarterback like this. And that's what it feels like all the time. It's just right. Doug and Trevor just do not work together. And this offense clearly isn't working.
I don't think Doug and quarterbacks work. I think that's what we're learning.
You're not wrong.
Carson Wentz debacle.
I think he wants a Nick Foles. He just wants somebody. I tell you where to throw it, you throw it.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right. But look, man, we're to the point where it's year 3 with Doug. We're still getting the confusion pre-snap. Like, what was it? 4 times that they would have either taken a delay game or had to call timeout on Sunday.
Yeah. And
4,
the second half,
I'm guessing, but it was a lot.
Yeah, the second half it came back to bite us. We didn't have timeouts for that last drive.
Yep. And then the back and forth play calling thing with sharing it with press, like this has got to stop. You hit on it last week or maybe 2 weeks ago, and then we touched on it with Dilla again last week, that you have the hunch that at least after the Dolphins game, press was the first half and Doug was the second half. And Dilla kind of tweeted that made it sound like it was flipped this week, that whoever was first half last week was second half this week. And if you put those two together, it sounds like to me that press called the first half last week and the second half this week, which is the 2 halves of football where the offense at least had
movement,
heartbeat.
Yeah.
In the play calling, yeah.
I hope I'm right about the press thing, but it still makes it weird that if they're switching like that Doug is having these issues.
Mm-hmm.
But it also makes sense. Like when we go back to the Colts game last year, there's that soundbite that came out where Trevor's talking about Christian Kirk on the go, where he pumped it, and he's like, me and Press talked about this. We told Press to be open, and it sounds like the communication's there with Press. So I'm wondering if it's not there with Doug.
It doesn't seem like it, man.
It doesn't.
And it's the he just doesn't take the responsibility like you want a head coach to, because you're seeing it in Philly, like I said, with the Carson Wentz thing, and then now here where it's like all the little things that you can pick at your quarterback about you're doing when you're the guy who let the offensive line coach come back.
Yep.
Like, it's insane. Last thing on Doug, I guess, real quick, because there will be more as we get going into the game, but Mason Smith, what the hell happened?
Our friend Dilla had a nice tweet about that one too, where he mentions that Ryan Nielsen may not have liked the effort. The snaps were going to go down, but with Doug and Trent, apparently they're beefing again. So Doug just said, "F it, we're not going to play him at all." So it's week 2. We got head coach GM beef, head coach quarterback beef. Don't know who the play caller is.
Coordinator and either head coach / GM beef as well.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's week 2, buddy.
Yeah.
Who in your on off the field? Let's start off the field. Who do you think is most responsible? Do you think it's directly Phil Rauscher?
No, I don't. I mean, I don't think Phil helps the problem, but it's Trent who built the line, and we could all look at the line. No matter what you think about it, they were always the best case scenario was average.
Yep.
This was never something like, "Ooh, this could be a top 10 line with these people." It's always, hopefully we can get to 15, 16 or top 20.
And it's just so painful because like last year you had everybody screaming for Osiris Torrance.
Yeah. And so
everyone was screaming for him.
Yeah. Like Phil, I don't think helps. I'm not going to act like he's blameless here, but he's cooking what he can with whatever he's got.
Yeah, I'm not going to say he's a garbage coach because, like, who am I to honestly sit there and be a judge of NFL coaches,
right?
Their effectiveness? But, like, what did he do to warrant being retained?
Exactly. After the product last year, they made the 31st overall shirts, trying to dig back at ESPN digging at him, and then they go ahead and I think they were the 30th best line last year. So maybe they're a little bit better. Yeah.
Hey, maybe this year could be 29th.
I doubt it. Not with what we're seeing right now. I think we're fighting for 32.
It's fucking pathetic, man. All right, let's get into the game and talk about other pathetic stuff. Before we break down the kind of like the game flow, we're going to talk performances. Trevor was 14 of 30 for 220, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. There's really not much to say. Like, he wasn't terrible, but like he wasn't good. Like, I'm not going to sit here and come on this stream and say Trevor was great because he wasn't.
We had our first pocket fumble too.
I was going to say he's like,
I don't blame him.
Lose the fumble, but
I don't blame him for that one. But yeah, it did happen.
But dude, 14 of 30 is pathetic. I know it's the pass rush that it's just in his face. So like when Aaron Donald took over the league, everybody realized like, yo, if you can just disrupt a play up the middle instantly, like there's nothing an offense can do. Like you cannot scheme. There's just literally nothing you can do for someone blowing the middle of the lineup from the start. And it feels like we play Aaron Donald every week.
Yep.
It's
every single week. And then when you're getting guys like Myles Garrett, who we're going to absolutely win off the edge, there's nothing that you can do.
It's pathetic. ETN, 13 for 52 and a touchdown. Once again, we'll get into some notes on here, but like nowhere to run for him. Just nowhere.
More yards after contact than he had actual yards.
Jesus, yeah. He also caught 3 passes for 6 yards, and I just was reminded of something on Twitter that I'm going to look up about ETN.
Did that sweet pass?
No, it is about where did it go? I gotta find it on my likes. Luckily, I can see my own. I think I liked it. There we go. And it was a John Shipley tweet. Jaguars ranked 28th in rushing yards before contact per carry at just 0.9. They ranked number 1 in yards after contact at 4.52.
Oh yeah.
So almost dead last in the league at contact or yards before contact per carry. Number 1 in yards after contact. So both Tank and ETN and a little bit of Dearness this week. Like they're doing with what they can with what they got.
Yep. Yeah, it's pathetic. a good way to put
Looking at some targets for the receivers, Gabe Davis was your leader with 7. He caught 3 for 43. A week after Evan Ingram got 0 usage, fully healthy, Brenton Strange gets 6 targets, catches 3 for 65. Thomas Jr. got 4 targets, 2 for 94. ETN, 4 targets, 3 for 6. Kirk, 3 targets, 1 for -1. And then finally, 2 more. Luke Farrell, 2 targets, 2 for 13. And then Washington had 1 target and no catches. I was a little surprised to see Gabe Davis be our target leader here. I don't know. How about you?
Gabe, not so much, but I do think when you can run your offense through Brenton Strange, you absolutely have to.
Hey, that's a brand of bulky ball that we haven't seen, and maybe it's the key.
That drive they peppered him, I was like, oh my God, what are we doing?
One problem for me is the lack of Brian Thomas targets.
Yep. Yet again, the second he got a target, he made a big play.
Right. Like, and we'll get to this here too, but like, without that big play, this team doesn't even get in the end zone Sunday.
Yep.
So it's like, golly. Defense, I wrote down Monteric Brown. I mean, he was all over the place. They kind of tried to pick on him, but I saw he 12 targets.
He only gave up like 38 yards.
It was like 30-something, 40-something yards. Like,
yeah.
It was a damn good day for him.
He was good.
Devin Lloyd had himself a day. I just remember watching watching the broadcast and just being like, feeling like Devin Lloyd was all over the screen in a good way.
Yeah. I felt the same way watching the game. It's like, oh my God, he really took that step.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can see it where it's like the kind of that like Miles Jack kind of had a little bit of that development where you kind of saw the switch flip with the thinking, and then it was like boom.
Yeah.
So hopefully that stays up for him. Anyone else on defense that you wanted to hit on before we?
Do you want positives or negatives?
Either or.
Like I say, we got both the edges did a good job disrupting, but neither of them could finish. So that was kind of gross.
Story of our life.
And then our safeties coming downhill super fast and just missing everything.
Yeah.
There was like multiple times they had Deshaun or running back in the backfield and just whiffed.
Mm-hmm. Antonio Johnson had a rough go of it.
Yeah, he's people are like trashing him for obvious reasons. Like he's missing a lot of tackles. But other than that, he's like decent in coverage. So I want to like give him a little break here, but
yeah,
he's missing a lot of tackles. But coverage wise, I think he's
okay. So the game itself, first half honestly was kind of uneventful here. 3 first half drives for the offense, 86 total yards. The biggest play comes on a 33-yard scramble from Trevor. They get a field goal on that drive. Can't punch it in. I tweeted earlier this week, if the Jaguars have developed developed any sort of offensive identity under Doug Pederson, it's that they can't punch it in the red zone.
Yeah.
We're in year 3 and they still can't do it.
2 drives last week, 3 drives this week, get in the red zone. It's all field goals plus a miss.
One touchdown this week.
Yeah. Like the offense is moving and then it dies.
Right. It's insane.
That's what it's been like since he got there. Like even that 2022 year, it was between the 20s, they were fantastic. They're a top 10 offense. And then as soon as they hit that 20-yard line, they dropped the bottom 10.
Yeah, and it's never changed. It's wild.
Never.
Browns also only had 3 drives in the first half. They did a great job controlling the clock. But like big third down conversions, defense had trouble getting off the field in big spots. They settle for a touchdown, field goal. Defense did a great job clamping down to get them to field goals, which they've done a good job both weeks so far. This game was 13-3 at half. Honestly, could have been 21-3.
Yeah, defense has been doing like the good bend, don't break stuff. but to the extent it was really bad on Sunday. What was that first drive was 9 minutes and they couldn't get off the field? Like that was ridiculous. And then there was another one. I forget what drive it was, but Cleveland had 12 plays and it had gone 29 yards. But it's just like they couldn't get off the field.
Right.
That's one of the problems this defense is having. As good as they've been, they can't force turnovers and they can't get off the field when they need to.
Yep, 100%. You're right. They've been so good at clamping down like in pretty crucial spots, but they can't take that next step, make the big play, and get the sack when they need to or whatever. And that's a little frustrating. Hopefully they can get there. More time with Nielsen, but we'll see. So halftime is 13-3. And honestly, like I said, could have been 21-3. They could have been getting their shit kicked in. But the Jags force a 3-and-out to open the second half. And naturally, they cannot take advantage when they get the ball back. Followed up with a 3-and-out that goes for -7 yards. First down, -2 yard run to ETN. And that's including Walker Little reporting as an extra blocker. So we bring an extra blocker in the game, and we still get -2 yards. Second down, sack, -5 yards. Third, incomplete, short. You threw it short on third and long, like you probably weren't going to get it anyways. Pathetic drive to come out of half, show up on defense, and then to lay the egg right away.
I'm pretty sure that sack was also max protect. I think Walker Little was still in there. They ran that heavy play action, but it was a 2-man route concept.
Oh boy.
If that's the one I'm thinking of. He got sacked twice in max protection.
After that, Browns come back and get another field goal. I don't remember if that might have been the drive that wacky Judy play happened. That probably should have been picked.
Oh,
remember that one?
So fucking annoying. 2nd and 20. Watson throws it right to us, and we can't. That's the big stuff we can't get.
Right. And so we get. Oh, where is it on my notes here? So Browns come down, get the field goal, 16-3, and it was at this moment that you're like, okay, Jaguars are Jaguarsing it up right now. But I mean, we're gonna get there. But it's at this moment that the team flips. They start clawing back. There's a momentum shift, and you feel like, hey, maybe they're gonna do this. And the same shit happened last week when it started to fall apart on them. You thought. They had that trying to think. I feel like they kept making big stops on defense last week to give the offense another chance. And it's like you kept feeling like, hey, they're hanging in there, they're clawing, they're getting this momentum. And then they just crapped the bed. So down 16-3, they get a decent drive going. This is the one where Tank was out, but Dearness Johnson comes in, and he looked really nice on that drive, creating some runs.
Yeah, a couple good runs. Broke tackles early, pushing piles.
On that drive as well, Brenton Strange 26-yard completion, and we had get us down to the 14-yard line. Okay, actually, we'll we get down to the 19. First down is a run for 5 yards. So now we have 2nd and 5 from the 14. -3 yards ETN run. 3rd and 8 from the 17. -9 yards sack. So now we're pushed back to the 25, and then we get the doink on the field goal. So offensive line, woes coming back. 2 negative plays in a row to force us 12 yards back on a field goal attempt that misses. Jaguars.
Yep.
And then, like I said, the defense holds again, gets them the ball right back, which leads us to the touchdown drive. And it's all thanks to the play to Brian Thomas. Obviously, it was a beautiful throw by Trevor. God, it was like 55, 60 air yards or something. But the tracking from Thomas is evident in the second time now, late hands, and the extension, like the length, like I didn't think he was going to get it.
Yeah, I thought Trevor overthrew him. And I was like, oh, here we go.
How many times as Jags fans have we seen a play like that and it is like an inch too far?
Yep.
We got it. We got him. We did it. So yeah, they punched that one in with ETN and force another 3-and-out for the Browns. So that we're getting the momentum. We're getting another drive rolling. Another big play to Brenton Strange. They get to the 2-yard line. Touchdown to Kurt called back. Followed by 2 incomplete passes. Field goal. So in this game, we've got a field goal in the first half that was in the red zone. We got a field goal miss in the second half that was in the red zone. And then a third field goal attempt that was in the red zone.
And that penalty is the same issues we saw last year.
Yes.
Trevor had to put Dearness Johnson in the right spot because he lined up in the wrong spot on the field. So Trevor has to move him, and then when they call hike, Dearness Johnson's still moving, so you get the illegal shift.
And then it goes back to coaching.
Yep.
Trevor has to call hike because he's running out of time. He doesn't have time to get Dearness set because
he's fixing issues that should be fixed.
Right. It goes back to coaching. So they get the field goal. Once again, defense steps up, forces a Browns punt. But we get pinned at the 1, and then the safety happens. Tell me about that play.
The second it happened, there was the takes that, like, he should have thrown it somewhere. Like, we needed the all-22 to really process this one.
Mm-hmm.
But you had Brian Thomas Jr. on an out and up. And that's obviously where Trevor was going. And then you also see there's a double team from Ezra Cleveland and Mitch Morse on the defensive tackle.
Right.
That double team is supposed to set up the out and up because that's where Trevor's going to step to throw this deep shot that was open, but our left guard whiffed that we just paid. And it breaks up the whole thing. But that's a coaching issue too. Why are we taking a 5-step drop from the 1-yard line? Like, you're risking a safety anyway. Like, throw a quick slant, run it, get some room, and then do your shot play.
Right.
Like, that was the worst case scenario all around, and it showed up in the way that you think it would because Jags.
Yep, that's exactly it. And then once again, defense does the job, forces the punt, gives us that shot, one more shot at the end of the game. I mean, Trevor did a good job on that last drive.
We got it moving. I mean, that one started at what? That one was pretty deep too.
I would say that one was pinned back there too.
Yeah, and he had to drive the whole field. And that's another point made today of that was hurry up. So that's all the quarterback calling those plays, not the OC. And we're getting in
tempo.
Position.
I want to say one of the drives in the second half, that was a field goal that got down to the red zone. Like, there was some tempo movement in that one too.
Yeah, and then Dolphins before the half was a tempo. All Trevor.
Right.
Quick 3. It's a trend.
Okay, so let's see more of it. Yeah. How/can they get back on track versus the Bills?
When? I mean, obvious, but like the last year, when we beat the Bills in London, that was the most vertical that the offense had felt.
Yep.
In terms of all season, Trevor was hitting all areas of the field. Issue in that game was also pass blocking. There's a fumble in the red zone that game. So the Bills they can get attacked, but their defensive line gets after it. So Ed Oliver's freaking good at defensive tackle. So our interior is going to have their hands full. Anton and Cam have been the worst linemen we've had. Did not think that was going to be the case. We talked about it during Bucks week. Like, we went to the interior. The tackles are just terrible right now.
With oh shoot, what was I going to say? Oh, one of my problems with the pass rush is especially like with this Cleveland game, is we every time there's like this matchup on paper for the D line to dominate and rack up sacks, they get 1 or 2.
Yep.
And that's a problem too. Like you got to take advantage of the matchups when they're there. But
Yeah.
with the Bills, you got to remember Von Miller's. He's looking really good again this year so far. I know it was only 2 games, but like, yeah, the offensive line this team is going to live and die by the offensive line. Defense is going to keep them in games. And we touched on it a couple times, like how the offensive line is single-handedly losing this team games, like blowing drives, leaving points on the field. And yeah, like that just can't happen. And it's gonna keep happening. So that's the sad part. But this team is in big trouble until that offensive line gets figured out. But as far as the Bills go, I didn't like this tweet earlier, and I should have. Trevor's been really good in primetime on his career.
Yeah, primetime Trev.
Yeah,
Jamal St. Cyr tweeted that one out. Shout out Jamal.
At least there's that. But honestly, I don't have any hope for that one.
Yeah, it's not gonna be fun. Josh Allen it's only 2 weeks, but he is the best quarterback in the NFL right now. Not legit, like Patrick Mahomes is still number 1, but there isn't anyone else sniffing Josh Allen in terms of play this year. So he's carrying the Bills.
So like fantasy sidebar real quick, because I'm a fantasy guy. I was still preaching that he was number 1 fantasy QB this year. And there was people pushing back because he lost weapons and this and that and whatever. I'm like, look, this is the one dude in the league who constantly plays hero ball and it works.
Yep.
I don't care that he lost Stephon Diggs. Like, I don't care. Like, all Josh Allen does is figures it out. And I'm scared with him this week. Like, look what Deshaun just did navigating the pocket. Josh is going to turn those into 7 scrambles.
Yeah, he's going to run it where Deshaun was looking to throw it. Yeah. Josh is going to take 15 yards all day.
Yeah,
and run over a linebacker in the process.
I'm probably going to be betting Allen rushing yards for sure.
Yeah, that'd probably be a good bet. Probably anytime touchdown too.
Yeah. Oh yes. Yeah. Yeah. I'm not super pumped. I don't think it's going to go that great. But yeah, hopefully more up tempo because yeah, that's when this offense has thrived. And what do you know, putting it in the quarterback's hands. Got anything else here for us?
Don't be surprised if they beat the Bills. Right? I think they're gettable. Like the Bills are good, but I think they're still gettable. The defense is still a work in progress. So, and then I think the offense gets it. It's all about the line.
Yep. If they can, we just talked about it. They're going to live and die by the line. And if they can go out and just play a solid game for one game, this team could probably hang with anyone.
Yep. They just got to get it to, I don't know. Feed Brian Thomas.
Right. Last thing for me before we get out of here is MVP of the week. And this week is Logan Cook, most valuable punter, because he's doing his job and he's doing it damn good, and we got to use him a lot.
He's a weapon.
All right. Well, that's it for me tonight, Josh. You got any last words?
I don't. Go Jags and try not to harm yourself next Monday night.
Yeah, just like honestly, I'm to the point where like apathy, man. It's just it is what it is.
Yep.
All right. Until next time, we'll be here next Tuesday night streaming at 9:00. Go give the Undroppables a follow on YouTube. Follow them on X. Follow the Uncovered channel on X. Follow Josh. Follow me. Follow someone else who's cool. All right. That's it. See you later.